Hello everybody, it's Hooper back for another video in the streaming tutorial series. This video we're going to be talking about a few recommendations for new streamers and streamers that are currently already streaming that I followed, and it did help me out a lot. So today, in no particular order, we're going to go ahead and start with these. Alright, so first off, we want to make sure you are not using a paid or something that you had to pay for to stream with, such as XSplits. You can get XSplit to stream in 720p, 30 frames per second. If that's all you can stream, you should go for XSplit if you want to. I really don't recommend going for that. I started off with that, and then I wanted to stream in 60 frames per second because it made my streams look better, but I ended up not being able to do that without paying for the premium subscription. It's a lifetime license for like $200, which I am not paying for. Meanwhile, there are other options like OBS and Streamlabs OBS that are free and you can start using right now, and you can stream whatever quality you want to. I think Streamlabs OBS uses 1080p 60 frames per second at the top, I think, for their limit on streaming quality, but the other ones use 4K, like OBS uses 4K. I think on some higher end computers you can do 4K. Now mine, I have AMD 3250, I think, processor, FX series, something like that. I'm not real sure. I used to have it memorized, but I don't anymore, and I probably could barely do 4K. It really also depends on your graphics card and your RAM and everything. So a good thing to do is make sure you have enough RAM, which is getting into point number 2 that I want to make, is make sure your computer is good enough to stream with. It's really rare that I have ever seen a CPU that couldn't handle just streaming 480p, but I've seen it a few times. So if you have like an Intel Core i3, that's what I started out with when I started streaming, and I was streaming at 360p. And I had 8 gigs of RAM, and I started off with 4 gigs of RAM, but I eventually upgraded to 8 gigs of RAM, which that did help out also. So I started out with an i3, and that worked for me for a little while, and then in 2016 I decided to go all out and get a brand new gaming computer. You actually really don't have to have a gaming computer to stream with. I just thought it was a good option. So I started looking around. I didn't want to build one, even though I know how to build one. That's how I make a living. But even though I didn't want to build one, I went online and I was looking at Walmart, and it was the cheapest one on there, and it's an 8-core processor, 8 gigs of RAM. It's got a fairly decent graphics card in it. So I was like, yeah, I'll get this, and I did, and it was like $600 and some compared to $12,000, which you'd have to pay for like a pre-built other places. If you go to a CyberPower or iBuyPower website, they will try to sell you the most expensive one they can. So that's what they're showing you. They're going to show you the cheapest one, which is like $1,000. But if you go on Walmart.com and you actually look up some of the prices, you can get cheaper than you can get on the dealer's website. That is what I did. I didn't know about iBuyPower until I went on Walmart.com, and then I looked at that and I went to their website, and everything else is like $1,000, and this one was like $600, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get this one. It might have been $600 or less. So they're actually out of stock of them now, or I would recommend them on Walmart. So I guess they've quit making them. There's other models of this one that are a little cheaper and have different processors. There's a 6-core processor you can also get. I think it's still available. I'm not sure. I will put a link below if I can find it. But good luck PC hunting and making sure everything's working out. Yeah, another thing, make sure you have enough RAM. Streamlabs OBS says it will decrease CPU usage, which really means it'll decrease RAM usage. Well, it kinda doesn't. So anyway, I just had to upgrade my RAM to 16 gigs, and everything works awesome now on this computer. This is a desktop anyway, if I haven't said that many times already. The RAM upgrade really helps out when you're streaming, because you can have chat in one window, you can have your dashboard for Twitch or YouTube, and then you can have your OBS or whatever you're streaming with. You could stream with Elgato software if you want to, if you have to, or Streamlabs OBS if you want to. But anyway, that's moving into point number 3. What are you going to stream to? Are you going to stream to YouTube or Twitch? I personally like Twitch better, even though I started out on YouTube. I didn't find out about Twitch until about 3 months into streaming from YouTube, so it just took a long time to find what I wanted to stream with. And so, I went for YouTube for about a year, and then when I got the new computer, I was like, hey, I can start doing better quality stuff, and I can probably stream to Twitch pretty good. And so I'm like, okay, I'll try Twitch. And so I did, and then I was like, I want to stream to YouTube and Twitch. Big mistake on my part. I said, I'll go and look up a streaming service or open 2 windows of the same program. And here's another thing with XSplit. You can stream to 2 things at once from XSplit on the premium lifetime license. You can't do it for the free version. And that's where I run into problems with XSplit. And then what I did otherwise, after I found out about the website restream.io, you can totally go below. There's a link to that website below, but I highly only suggest using that for one streaming service to get analytics from that streaming service, because they have released their beta analytics. Analytics, I don't know how to talk today. Yeah, which you can view stats from your streams and stuff. I should have just said stats. Yeah, you can view stats and things from your past streams. So anyway, there should be a link below, and it helps me if you start streaming with it. It really does. But other than that, just stream to one thing. YouTube is not as creator friendly as Twitch, and so you will have to work a lot harder to get to a level where you start getting constant viewers. So what happened to me is I actually was getting about 13 viewers on average about this time last year, which is April last year. And so after that, during the summer, I took a bunch of breaks. I don't know why. And then in the fall, I took a bunch of breaks. And then that's when everything started to fall apart from the 13 average viewer thing. And I just didn't realize how important it was from the viewer perspective, because it stops alerting people on YouTube. Half of your viewers don't even get notifications that you're going live. They have to manually look up and see if you're going live. And otherwise, I message my viewers in Discord and do it that way. So that's where I made my mistakes at, is not streaming enough. And then I started streaming to YouTube and Twitch separately, on and off. And then I found Restream, like I said. And so I had a Twitch fan base of about 26 followers. I think I remember that correctly. And then I had a YouTube follower count of like 100 and like 12, while Twitch was sitting there with 26. Okay, so this is April. And so everything starts to grow pretty good, because we're doing Breath of the Wild, which was getting a lot of views back in the day, which was last year. That makes me feel old. But anyway, that brought in some views, and then the Lego City stuff that I did very often, and then the Want to Switch rarely, and then the marathon streams I did for like 72 hours plus, even more than that really. That brought in a lot of followers and viewers. So if you can stream non-stop for a long time, which I didn't stream non-stop, I'll talk about that. Non-stop, I can't talk. I'll talk about that in a later video, because you've probably heard it in a lot of streams if you've watched my videos before. But anyway, back to the point. So you're gonna find out what you gotta stream with. I'm just sharing some of my personal experiences with these streaming services. So Twitch, Mixer, YouTube are the 3 major ones. So just pick whatever you want. YouTube's not the best. Twitch is the easiest, because I got affiliated in June after I started streaming for E3, which wasn't that hard to do. I mean, I had like 21 viewers at once. And then there's little steps that you can follow on Twitch. It says path to affiliate and everything like that, and it can help you get to affiliate quicker. That way, by targeting what you're successful at and everything. And then Mixer is just exclusively Microsoft people. It's not really favorite for everybody. It's not really favorited by Nintendo. because it's Microsoft's, and then Sony kind of favors it because you can stream to it from PS4. So yeah. And then that brings me into point number 4, which you can stream with. So you want to find out what capture card you want to stream with. I use an Elgato. I have like, how many capture cards do I have? Let's see. I'm talking British for some odd reason. 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 capture cards. And then I've got another one that's a Roxio, which a Roxio is a cheaper option than Elgato. If you have to get a Roxio, if you see one that's like under $60, it's a really good deal. But if it's over $60 and it's used, I wouldn't go for it. I bought one from a friend for $40. It's still that thing. It was really beat up and everything, and it still worked though. But I've read reviews on them. The Roxios aren't the best. But you can do component video with them. You can't do AV, which is the yellow cord, if you didn't know. The yellow cord coming out of your Wii or PS3. That's the only 2 consoles I know that use the yellow cord that are recent. Unlike the GameCube, like every other Nintendo console use that. But anyway, you want to find out what capture card you want. If you want to stream GameCube games, if you have a Wii or Wii U, it really depends on what you want to stream. If you want to stream retro games for like NES, old systems like that have AV out only, not HDMI, go for the Game Capture HD, which they are not making those anymore, so it might be a little harder to find them. Or go the other option. I have an HD60S. This would also work with a HD60, which the difference in those two I'll explain in a minute. But the way I did this is I have the HD60S. It is HDMI only capture card. I'll explain a little bit more later. It's HDMI only, which means you can only, well, I'll just explain it right now. It's HDMI only, and you can only use an HDMI source such as a Nintendo Switch that has HDMI out. You couldn't plug an NES into a HD60 or HD60S without an adapter, which is what I did. So I went out and bought an adapter. It's a Blackwell composite to HDMI adapter. It was a little pricey. It was $40. You can go on Amazon. You can probably find them cheaper, but that's what I did. And bought that. It works awesome. It like upscales my GameCube things, and it looks a little bit better than the actual GameCube output. And then I did the Wii, and I haven't done the NES or any old ones yet, but I can confirm you it will work. So if you want to do that, which the HD60S is about $180 or $160, in that range, it fluctuates. The HD60 is like $120, $130, and then the HD60S is like $130, and then the HD is probably about probably the same thing as HD60. So, because they're basically the same thing, but the HD60 can do 1080p, 60 frames per second. So, it's really on your choice of preference. If you want to stream Wii games, get a HD if you can, or go my route and get a HD 60 or 60S. It really depends on what you can afford. The benefits of the HD60. Ooh, here we go. Benefits of the HD60 are that you can plug directly in to your computer, and you don't have to have a monitor. Sometimes you can just look directly off your computer, which it really depends on games. You can't really do it all that well on Splatoon 2 or anything like that. Breath of the Wild will probably work really well with it because it's not split-second gameplay like Splatoon is. Mario Kart works awesome. Mario Kart is the best game so far. I don't know. It doesn't read the game coming from the system. It just mirrors it. I use a camera. I film my local church services, and I just use HD60S. I have a camera going right to it, and I don't have a monitor to look at other than the computer and the teeny tiny little preview on the camera, and that works really good for me. So you gotta have a USB 3.0 port to get that to work. It's USB-C, so you gotta have a pretty good computer to get it. I mean, like, it's a USB 3.0 standard, but you don't have to have a USB-C on your computer. If you have I don't think they have it out for Apple computers yet. I don't know if you can use HD60S properly on the Apple computers yet, but I think it's coming pretty soon if it's not already, because I remember someone telling me that their HD60S wasn't working on their Apple, but the HD60 will. If you have an Apple computer, go for the HD60, because the HD60S, I don't know if it'll work. You can go into detail. I'll put a few links down in the description below of what I actually use, and I have a website that shows everybody what I use, so I'll link that below. And then the HD60, what you do is it's standard USB 2.0. It's micro USB or USB Type B, I think, going into the capture card. It goes to your computer. Nothing special. Most computers can do it without a sweat. It really depends. Core i3 can barely do it. AMD probably 2-core. I know they make a few laptops that are AMD 2-core. 1-core split or something that are decent, and I don't know if they will do it or not. You might have to get like at least a Ryzen 3 if you're going to compare the specs to normal things. I'm trying to still think of what the minimum should be, but it really depends. You can go and read the system specs and everything that you have to have, or system requirements. But the HD60, you have to have a monitor to play your games with. You can't just run it to your computer. You have to have an external monitor other than the computer to play it with, because the lag going to the computer is about 10 seconds, and so you can't play that way, obviously, and so you would have to have an external monitor with no delay whatsoever. So it works the same way with the HD60S, but you can get instant game view on the computer monitor that you're going through most of the time. At 50-50, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying about most of the time. 50-50. It really depends on what kind of computer you have. My laptop can do it a lot better, it's Intel. So Intel processors look like they work a lot better with the HD60S other than AMD. So I don't know what the problem is there. So there's one more option. You can get the HD60 Pro. HD60 Pro. Yeah, HD60 Pro, and then you can get the 4K Pro, which can do 4K. You really don't need it unless you got like a PlayStation or Xbox. The Nintendo Switch can't output 4K just yet. I really don't care about that, but that's another video. Anyway, so it really depends. The HD60 Pro and the 4K 60 Pro, I think that's what they're called, are internal capture cards, which have to be required to, I don't know what I'm saying. They have to be installed to your computer manually. You have to go in and do that unless you like buy a computer with one. And I've never seen that before, but you have to install it. It's not that hard. You can look up a few videos. If I can get one, I will do a demo video. All you gotta do is install it in your computer, and the instant game view with those work a lot better. That's what I've heard. But I mean, it's a direct connection to your motherboard, which is like what your processor and your RAM sits on. So I'm trying to make things a little simpler to understand. So it's really close to all the processing that needs to be done to record or stream with. So yeah, and I recommend for streaming HD60S just because of the audio benefits. I'm doing a review of that anyway, so I'll leave the link to the review down in the description if I have done it yet. So anyway, let's get off of that topic. Let's move on. Some of the things that you have to do when you're streaming, if you want to get viewers and you want to get people watching and you want to have a lot of fun, you don't have to stream the same game over again. You can experiment. I experiment all the time. I've tried out GameCube games since I got the adapter for the capture cards and everything. I've tried out NES games on older things that I've had, and I've done a bunch of stuff, and I've tried Mario Maker. And you don't have to stream Mario Maker all the time because it gets you views. You can experiment. If you have like a decent following on Twitch, you can start streaming some other things like Splatoon 2, and then go back to Mario Maker like every so often, or do Splatoon 2 every so often the same way. So just find out what your viewers like. If you can experiment. Don't try to be an exclusive game streamer. Be a variety streamer. Start changing it up a bit every so often, so the viewers don't get annoyed with the same game. That's some of the things that have had happen to me, because I've streamed a bunch of Splatoon 2 a lot, and then I streamed a bunch of ARMS when it came out a lot, and that kind of hurt viewers. So it's the same game over and over and over, and then you upload videos that way too. So and then another topic let's get into is just study other streamers. So after okay, this is what I've done. I'll be honest. I'll use an example. Okay, so when you can get done streaming on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, you can kind of raid people. Twitch, it is built into it, and then YouTube, it is not. So you have to kind of link everybody to the channel in your live chat. So everybody goes to that channel and then goes in their chat and kind of raids and continues the party from your stream. So that's a brief explanation of raiding. It works simpler on Twitch. You just type in /raid and then you put in the channel name after that, and all your viewers have a shot, or have a chance. Why not have a shot? It's not competitive. Have a chance to raid with you. So per se, like you've got 3 people watching and you want to raid somebody, you type in /raid whoever it is, and it says at the top of your chat, it says blah blah blah, people are raiding this channel, and everyone that's in the chat for a minimum amount of time, when that box shows up, it'll add to your raid count. So if you have 3 people, it'll show up at 3 people raiding. If you have 4 people, one might leave and not want to raid, so it might say 3 raiding. So it kind of works that way. Just study with it if you want to. Just raid at the end of your streams. Hosting used to be similar to raiding, but they've incorporated it onto Twitch raiding party now. So anyway, other than that, experiment, or not experiment, that's in my script. Just experiment, or study. It's just study other streamers. That's what I've done, just to grow my fan base and everything like that. It's not hurting anybody. What I do is I usually raid somebody or host somebody after I get done streaming, and I go to their channel and I watch their stream for a little bit. And I'll give you an example. Sparty, it was a long time ago when I raided him, and then ever since then I've been in contact, and was trying to learn what he was doing to stream, helping him out, and I finally helped him out enough. He's got a pretty decent following on YouTube, beating me on YouTube. But anyway, that's a good example, and he learned from me, I learned from him, I help him out, he helps me out, and so you can get a pretty good relationship with other streamers on Twitch and everything like that. So just keep on looking at other streamers and seeing what they're doing to get all their views and everything, and yeah, just look around at other streamers. It really helps out a lot. Just don't let it take away time from your streaming. Just keep streaming like you normally do. Develop a good schedule. I go live Saturday nights at 9:30 usually. Give or take about 30 minutes or an hour. So that's a pretty accurate schedule. I've started earlier sometimes and later sometimes, and it just works out the same way. Just develop a good streaming pattern of schedule and everything. I stream once a week. Pretty soon we're going to be expanding that to more. So we're going to see how that works out for us. If you're one of my viewers, you can tune in. If you're not, you should totally subscribe to learn more about streaming and video production and stuff like that. I'm going to give you as many tips as I can and what I've learned from my little YouTube career. So thank you guys for watching. Hope this helps you out just a little bit. This is one of my first videos like this. So thank you guys for watching.